Well, hello there, my friend. Today I'm doing something brand new. Never done this before. It feels a little terrifying. I'm doing a totally off-the-cuff episode. That means that I have a couple of notes, so I don't end up talking all day, because I probably could. But there's no script. There is no SEO keywords. There's no rehearsal. There's really no fancy intro, outro, no plan. And just a side note, that there's a lot of love. A lot of time that goes into every episode. And while this one has just as much love, I think it's just a little less time too. So I'm going to try this out. We'll see how this goes. You may hear me shuffling my notes a little bit because I've kind of got like all these different papers. Like I said, no perfect script. But this is something I've been wanting to do for a really long time. One of the things I've wanted to do is to just pull back the curtain on even more of my life. And that's really the intention of this podcast, is to help bring the conversations that happen in my life, the people that I know, high performers, high achievers, just some of the most incredible people you could know, I am blessed to know. And I want to bring the conversations that happen in back rooms to light, to literally put a microphone to them. And so I've been wanting to do that a little bit more, just in terms of the conversations that I have with my clients, the things that I'm struggling with in my life, a little bit more of the friendships or kind of random thoughts that I have. And I don't know if this is the perfect way to do it yet, but I'll tell you what I've been doing. I've been having ideas or thoughts, and then I'll kind of draft it, and it won't be a perfectly fleshed out thought. And so I'll wait for it to be perfect. And then, as you might have guessed, it never actually comes to life. So you probably know this about me. I am a recovering perfectionist. I'm working towards it every day of my life. And this is me taking a step and embodying the concept. And because it's one thing to know. It's one thing to know that it's better to just do it, have it be imperfect, than to wait for perfection and never do it. We know that, right? But this is me actually embodying it. Showing up with some content that is not perfectly fleshed out, but is something that could be relevant for you, and I believe can be really helpful. It was helpful in the context of the way that the conversation with a friend and I kind of worked out, which I'll share a little more on that. And I hope that it's helpful for you. And it's not going to be perfect, and we'll see how it goes. So today I want to chat about how to get the support that you need. And of course, everything on my show really is about you living your best life. It's about healing and growth and facing challenges, getting goals, and making it through tough times that are inevitable in life and inevitable in us growing, expanding, and evolving and changing as humans and people. I want to talk about the fact that nobody does it alone. And also, sometimes, let's be real here, people suck. And sometimes it's really unintentional. People don't know how to show up for you, don't know how to support you, don't know what to do to help you. And that's kind of what I want to talk about, how we navigate those times. So this is all about how to get the support that you need when you're going through a hard time, when you are in a growth, when you're facing a challenge, when you're trying to heal. And I'm using different words, but it's kind of the same experience, right? There's something going on for you, and you want to process it and move through it, but you need the right support to do it. When I'm talking about support, I'll talk a little more about this, but this could be in the context of people, which is kind of where we're going with this. Could be a leader, could be boss, could be mentor, neighbor, partner, your family, coach, a friend, a neighbor, a spiritual guide. It could even be yourself. And so we'll talk about some tools and resources that you can do for yourself as well. But it's basically, how do you get the people around you, and how do you also make sure that you're getting the right support you need when things get hard? Because we all know somebody, and probably we're all going through something hard right now. We're all facing challenges, and we need to know how to get through it, how to get the support that we need to do that. Welcome to the Goalden Girls Podcast, where we believe you can have it all. I'm your host, Lisa Michaud, and I'm spilling tangible tips, goal-getting strategies, and real-life stories to inspire you to tackle your biggest dreams. You're a woman who knows you're made for more. Get ready to leave the excuses and self-doubt behind by being vulnerable, sharing your truth, and having honest conversations so you can succeed on your terms. Together, we'll set goals you'll actually achieve by staying motivated, having fun, and building a community of women empowering women. It's time to tap into your best self, get confident, and truly have it all. Goalden Girl, let's dive in. Where what's the inspiration for this? So why am I just like off the cuff recording this with some pieces of paper in front of me? I was having a conversation with a friend, and basically she was talking to her therapist, and she was talking about a particular government policy. And look, I'm not here to talk about government, true, false, and not today anyways. But basically, my friend had expressed to her therapist, like, this policy is never going away. It's never going to change. And her therapist had said something along the lines of like, well, like, you don't know that. And my friend was like, well, I do know that. I do know it's never going to change. And her therapist was like, well, you just got to change your mindset on it. And my friend, the impact was, and maybe you can relate to this, the impact was that she felt like she wasn't heard. And, I think the word gaslighting is a very sexy, trendy word right now. So let's just throw it out there. It could things like this can make you feel gaslit. When you say something to somebody, you say, I believe this or I believe that. And they tell you, well, you don't know that, or you should just change your mindset. It can make you feel like you've been dismissed. It can make you feel like you don't matter. And at the root of it is because what you actually wanted and needed in that moment, that need wasn't met. I'm going to also just put this out there. I'm a coach. I'm also a friend. And believe me, I've messed this up. And maybe it's you I've messed it up with. Maybe you're a friend and you're like, yeah, Lisa, you do not get this right. Or maybe I made you feel dismissed. Maybe you're a client and you're like, yep, there was something I said that made me feel dismissed, or I felt unheard, or it wasn't what I was looking for. And, gonna just be right up front and honest and say, I'm really sorry. And, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm human. It does happen. And this whole conversation, I'm not looking for perfection here. Clearly, I'm looking for progress for you, for me, and for us as humanity. So that's what this is about. I want to just drop the judgment if you've ever done this to anybody else. I want to drop the judgment of the people that have done that to me or done it to others, and just all come together in unity for progress, for us to get a little bit better. Here is my thoughts on this. And here's kind of what I've pulled out. I think we all need the same things, but sometimes we need different things. So what do I mean when I say this? I believe we all need 4 things. And there might be more, so if you've got more ideas, shoot them my way. But here are the ones that I came up with. I think sometimes we need to release. We need to vent. We need to let it out. Sometimes we need comfort and we need reassurance. Sometimes we need confirmation and validation and to restore ourselves. And sometimes we need action and change. 4 things. I'm going to talk about those just a little bit more. So sometimes we need to vent. We need to release what's happening. We need to just like let it out. We need to be witnessed. We need to be heard. And we need to be with someone who can be just present with us, or we need to be present with ourselves. That is like the being in, is the experience of that emotion or whatever it is that we're moving through. So the venting, that's the first one, venting and releasing. Number 2, I think often we also need reassurance and comfort. We need to be told, you will be okay. We need a hug. We need some warm tea. We need rest. We need to have somebody say, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Whereas the venting and the releasing, that one's, I feel that's a little bit more like, I see you. And comfort and reassurance is, I'm here for you, knowing that we're not alone. The next one, confirmation, validation, restoration. Sometimes we just need to know that I'm not crazy. You need to be told, you're not crazy. You're right. That's not okay. That was horrible. That should not have happened to you. Your job sucks. Your boss sucks. Whatever that is. Yes, that is wrong. Yes, that is right. Sometimes we just need that validation and confirmation. So that's another one of those things that I believe all humans at some point are going to need. And the last one is we need change and action. We need someone to say, okay, here's what I see. Why don't you try this? We need suggestions. We need accountability. We need to maybe change our mindset on something, or we need someone to say, here's a plan, or here's some ideas, something you can try. So those are kind of the 4 things I see. So we all need to vent and release. We all need comfort and reassurance. We all need validation and confirmation, and we all need action and change. That's truth. So what do we do with this? And how do we use this concept to actually get the support that we need in life? How do you use this? Well, step 1 is, I guess, just awareness, recognizing that there are going to be different things that we all need, and they're probably the same things, but they're going to be at different times and in different ways in different places. And it starts with recognizing what you need. I think emotions can be a big clue to this, and also like body scanning, these are all ways that you can get started, but let me give you a couple of ideas. Like if you're feeling overwhelmed or feeling like you're kind of holding everything in, venting might be what you need. Or if you feel like the tape is kind of just replaying in your head, I don't know if you ever had this, like you just kind of keep saying the same thing over and over again, or you just like are feeling stuck, or you're replaying a conversation, or so, like you wish you'd said something differently, or you're having an argument with someone in your head. Anyone else do that? Just me? I don't know. I feel like venting is really powerful if those are the kinds of things that you're navigating. Venting can be helpful to help you release and be witnessed and be heard. If you are feeling afraid or possibly anxious or angry, also could be just feeling alone. I think comfort and reassurance could be potentially what you need. That's, knowing that someone's there for you, knowing you're going to be okay. Having warmth, having support is going to be really important. If you're feeling self-doubt, you're feeling unsure, you're feeling insecure, that's where you may need validation. If you're feeling anger, validation can also be important. That's where if you're doubting yourself, you need someone to say, you can do this. You're right. You got this. Like, this is hard, but you're going to figure it out. You need that validation and confirmation. That could also be, I should probably add the word, cheerleading in there too. Like an advocacy or someone just to know that someone's on your team, someone's on your side. I think that's really important. And let me also say this, you can self-validate. You absolutely can. And you can self-validate, you can give yourself comfort, you can vent to yourself, you can help give yourself action change. Absolutely. So, mindset and somatic tools absolutely play a role in all of this, but you can also get that from others. And I don't think it's an or, I think it's an and that's going to change depending on where you are in life and what you're feeling and who's around you and what resources and tools you do have already. If you're feeling stuck or unmotivated, or you're feeling lost or directionless, helpless might also be a word. If you're feeling one of those things, action or change may be what you're looking for. You need the suggestions. You need the plan. You need to get accountability. You need to actually take action and do something differently. So that's really step one, is awareness of what you need. Do you need to vent? Do you need comfort? Do you need validation? And we'll call it cheerleading right in there. Or do you need action and change? Does something in your life need to change? So once you know that, step two is then to consider who and what gives you that. And like I said, this could be mindset work. This could be somatic body work. This could be the people in your life, could be other resources, could be music that brings certain things out in you. It could be books, coaches, breath work, healing, naps, exercise. And let me just break this down a little bit more about what I'm saying, because it doesn't really matter what the modality is. The important part is that you're using it with or accessing it with the intention that's going to be supportive for you. So for example, let's talk about people. That's probably the most obvious one. We all have people in our life that are really good listeners. The people that will just be there with you. Maybe it's even like a pet, to be honest. We have people that will just sit with us and let us talk and not interrupt and not try and fix us, and not try and take over, but just listen. We all have those people, right? That's the people you maybe want to talk to when you feel like you need to vent, when you feel like you're overwhelmed and you're holding it all in and need to let it out. We all have those people. Maybe it is your mom, or maybe it is your partner. Maybe it is your best friend. Maybe it is your massage therapist that gives you comfort and reassurance. Maybe it's your therapist. Those people that just make you feel like a warm hug, or give you a warm hug, or will nourish you with comforting food, or are going to tell you, I'm here for you and you will be okay. There's going to be certain people that are just comforting. And then there's the people in our life that are the cheerleaders or the validators. It could also be a coach. It could be your friend that is already always like, yes, you can do this. Go for it. I feel like this is a little bit of me. I think I do this for myself and I do this for others really well. But we all have these friends, right? We all have the people that you start to doubt yourself, you're unsure, you're insecure. And so you call your cheerleader friend, right? You get the validation. It could also be someone that sees things a similar way as you. Maybe it's a fellow entrepreneur and you're certain struggle in your business that you're like, I gotta call the other entrepreneur, right? It could be someone that's also going to give you validation that entrepreneurship is freaking hard, or motherhood, or whatever that is. And of course, we all have those people that are the coaches, the action the change accountability partners and of course, any of these could also be your coach or could be your boss or could be your mom or could be any of those things. But you probably in your life have someone, maybe it is your boss or maybe it is a coach. Maybe it is your partner. Maybe it is your kids. Maybe it is your parents. Maybe it is a friend that pushes you, that challenges you, that encourages you to try something new, that has the idea. So I hope that that's kind of making sense. Like there's going to be different people that are going to give you what you need when you need it. But first step is always awareness. Let's also really briefly talk about like breath work, for example. There's different kind of, I'm very new to breath work too. I'm got some episodes coming up on breath work and more coming up in Goalden Girls community as well around breath work. Some amazing, amazing experts coming in. But basically, different kinds of breath work are going to give you different things. Certain types of breath are going to make you feel calm and comforted. Some of them are going to be allowing you to release, and other of them are going to be like activating. Some are going to be relaxing. So that's another example. Like you can do the breath work based on once you have the awareness and recognition of what it is that you need. I'm also going to talk about exercise real quick here. So as an example, if you feel like you need to release or vent, dancing can be really powerful. Music that resonates for you in that moment could be shaking, somatic practice. You can just Google somatic shaking. HIIT workouts or sprinting can also just like let you release and let it out really fast. By the way, these are just my interpretations of exercise that make me feel these ways. It may be different for you, but I hope that just hearing this gives you some ideas. When it comes to comfort, some types of exercise that might feel comforting, yin yoga, so very, very slow yoga. Maybe it is using a foam roller. Maybe it is swimming or a nature or slow walk. Could be all comforting types of exercise. When it comes to validation, I mean, we all just want to do what we're best at, right? So, I mean, if you can do the splits and that makes you feel confident and cheerlead, then do that. Maybe you're a great runner, so you go for a great run. Maybe you do the weights that you know you can crush, or the number of push-ups you can do, or the downward dog that you can do, or whatever it is. Like, you can use exercise to validate and bring back the confidence and the surety in yourself. And the last one, of course, is the action change. If you're looking for that, a way to exercise would be just trying the next hardest workout, sprint for that much further, that much longer, add a little bit of weight, add a little bit of time. Maybe you do the flow yoga just to like experience movement going. But I hope that gives you some ideas of what different exercise might look like in the context of these 4 things we all need to move through growth, healing, and challenging times. That they're the releasing and venting, the comfort and the reassurance, and number 3, the confirmation and validation, or cheerleading as I'm calling it now. And number 4, action and change. All right, so step 1 really is awareness of where you're at, what you need. Step 2 is considering who or what gives you that. And step 3 is leaning into that and actually doing it. Really important note here, if you're wanting something from somebody else, if you are going to someone because you're hoping they're going to cheerlead you or comfort you or just listen or kick your butt and tell you to do things differently or give you ideas, verbalize those needs. It's so important. And I'll talk about that more in a minute, but just verbalize. You got to say what you need and express it, and lean into it. So that's basically it. That's the content. I do have a few other tips though, and really important things that I do want to share. First of all, let me say this. If there is something else that you think you need, like I just came up with 4 there. Number 1, release and vent. Number 2, comfort and reassurance. Number 3, validation, confirmation, and cheerleading. And number 4, action and change. Maybe there's a 5 or a 6 or a 7 or 8. And if you know it, then that's great. Trust yourself. Go for it. I'm not trying to get this all right. It's not perfect. Like I said, not fully fleshed out. So trust yourself. And if you come up with something else, I would love to hear it. So please send me a message on social media or shoot me an email. I would just love to hear from you. And of course, would be, if you're open to it, would love to share that too on a future episode. Maybe another one of these off the cuff ones where I just get the inspiration and just go for it. Another thing really important to note. This isn't perfectly linear. It's not like we only need one of these things at one time. Maybe I should have started with this. But if you think about a great conversation, for example, whether it's with a friend or a coach or a therapist, it often includes all of these things. It includes the opportunity for us to just vent and release. It includes being comforted and reassured. It includes confirmation and cheerleading and validation, and it includes some form of action. I'm even going to tell you like a massage. Think about most things. I think it kind of encompass all of this. I think about the perfect massage. So the perfect massage, you start out with the releasing or the venting. You have the opportunity to discuss with your massage therapist what challenges you're having and why you're there and what's going on for your body. And then you get comfort and reassurance because your therapist says, I've got you. I hear you. You're going to be okay. And then they tuck you into a nice warm bed. I mean, it doesn't get much more comforting than that. You get validation and confirmation and cheerleading when your massage therapist finds that knot and they're like, oh yeah, that's really tight. You're like, yeah, I knew it. That really hurt. And you get the action piece, the change when they're actually working on that part and creating physical manual change. And then also when afterwards, they usually give you suggestions, try this exercise or notice your posture here so that you can change. So if you think about it, great conversations, great massages, probably great movies, like just great music, all of these great experiences, I would argue and am noticing that really include all of these things. So this is not a linear, like you're just going to have a conversation about one thing with one person, or your exercise or your massage is going to only fix one of these things. It's probably going to be a combination. But it's important to be mindful of this. And the reason why is because I want you to be really, really honest with yourself and consider that sometimes boundaries are necessary, especially when something is really tender. I mean, if we think about a massage, like maybe there's a particular spot that's just really tender that like, yeah, you know what? It would be perhaps confirming to have the therapist work in that area. But it's just too much. You're just not able to do it. Or maybe you know that there's a certain posture change or exercise you could try, but you're just so overwhelmed with the rest of your life that you're really coming to this massage to just be comforted and to just soak it in. I think the same thing happens when it comes to certain challenges we're facing in life. Like, let's be real here. Sometimes we're facing a problem and we just need to vent about it for a minute. We don't need to fix it. We don't need to be all done. We don't need someone else to tell us more things that we should be doing because we're already overwhelmed. You already have too much stuff going on. You're already guilting and shaming yourself. And that's okay. That's A-okay. And it's up to you to ask for what you need, set the boundary, and express it. I really, really, really believe that. Especially, and I'm going to say this just honestly, so much of our society, we are programmed, we are taught, we function on only doing the action and the change. So focusing right away on like suggestions, plans, accountability. And we ignore a lot of the times our need to release and process, our need and human desire for comfort and reassurance, our very real human need for sometimes to be confirmed and validated and cheer-led, the fact that none of us do this alone. And so if you don't set boundaries, most people are probably going to try to just give you advice or a solution, and it may not be what you need, which is why boundaries are so important, why expressing what you need is so important. And of course, the first step being having awareness for yourself of what it is that you need. Along the lines of boundaries, I also want to say this. Consider who and how you interact. So just who it is that you're interacting with and what you're doing, who you're interacting, how you're interacting. Because there may be certain times, certain days, certain hours, certain moments, certain seasons where there's conversations that you're just not available to have with certain people. Or there are people that you just cannot lean on for support in certain areas because they are not able to give you what it is that you need. And whether that's because you don't feel comfortable asking them or they just don't have the tools and resources to do that for you. It's just not a match. It's just something for you to be deeply aware of. And if you're in a really tender season, if there's something that's really tender, and a good way to know that you probably need a boundary is if somebody says something and it triggers you or it makes you angry or it makes you feel something, probably means that it's very tender and you need something different than what you've been given. So for example, with my friend, she knew right away that her therapist telling her that you just need to change your mindset on something, it made her angry. And so, as I said, with anger, we probably need comfort and validation in those situations and not necessarily right away action and change. So if you're feeling tender, if you feel like you need a boundary, chances are you probably would be served well to spend more time in the releasing and venting, in the comfort phase, and in the confirmation, validation, cheerleading, and really focusing on those. I also believe, as a coach, as someone who's really, Goalden Girls Podcast, I'm very action-oriented person. I believe it is essential to do the deep work first, to do the releasing, to do the reassurance, to do the confirmation. We have to feel good in order to really take aligned action and create sustained change in our life. I don't mean we have to feel good as far as like everything in our life has to be perfect before we can create change. That's not what I mean at all. What I mean is we have to feel aligned, we have to feel ready, and we have to be feeling strong enough within that when we meet more adversity, we're not instantly kicked back and triggered into needing venting, comfort, validation right away. I know it's a cycle. It's not linear. It's totally a cycle, but we do need to have some level of confidence, of tenacity, of, I don't know what the word is, but like unaffability, you got to be willing to be punched and get back up, to be punched down, I guess, and get back up. I don't know if that's quite making sense the way I want it to. I guess the big thing I really want to say out of this is when it's something tender, you're feeling triggered, be tender with yourself. Be clear about what you need. Be really mindful and consider who you're interacting with, how you're interacting. And if this is you, spend extra time in the releasing, the reassuring and comforting, the validation and cheerleading phase, those types of books, exercises, coaches, people, resources, music, breath work that allows you to feel that before you dive into the action. Because people are pretty good at action. People will pretty much always tell you what you should do differently. That's our society for you. Okay. Last couple things I want to say. I mentioned it before, but I just want to kind of bring this in. All of these steps, there are mindset tools and body work or somatic practices. Like I said, there's also exercise. There's certain people that are going to help you with each one of these. And I want to just say mindset is my jam, and some somatic work. I have done, some body energy work through my coach training as well. But definitely the mindset. Those are things that I feel really confident in and love to support people with. So that's a lot of what we talk about on this podcast. It's not the only way, but it is one of the tools. So, if you're resonating with any more of that mindset work, the mantras, or any of those kinds of practices, or just shifting your perspective on things, go back and listen to some more episodes because we've got lots and lots on that. And if you like my style, if you like what I'm sharing, then I invite you to hop on the wait list for my community. Goalden Girls community. I haven't opened registration in over a year, well over a year now. And I'm almost feeling ready to do that again. So if this sounds like the kind of thing that you want to be in community with and have this kind of support, then I encourage you to jump on the wait list. We'd love to have you. I guess I just want to say that. A little shameless plug in there. All right. Last piece on this before I wrap up. I also want to invite all of us to actually build in the practice of asking this. So this whole episode so far, I've talked about having awareness for yourself, of considering who and what you need, and then leaning into that and verbally expressing that, asking for it, and taking action on that, going and doing that, or giving yourself that gift. But I also just want to normalize us on the other end, on the receiving end, of asking people, what do you need? What would be most supportive for you in this moment? I told you in the beginning, I'm not perfect at this. I'm sure somebody's going to listen to this and be like, Lisa, you totally smashed over what I needed, not give me what I needed. And again, I'm sorry, my friend. I'm sorry. But I have started to do this in my personal life and definitely in coaching, and I will continue to work on this and be better, is to, when somebody is expressing to me a challenge, difficult situation that they're in, something, healing, growth, tough times, that I ask them, what do you need right now? Do you want to be heard? Do you want to be witnessed? Do you want me to do you just need to vent? Do you need comfort? Do you need to know you're not alone because I'm here for you? Do you need to be told you're not crazy, that it's not okay, that you're right? Do you need to be told that you can do this? Do you need to be cheerled and validated? I'm here for you. Or do you need some help with changing your mindset, of creating a plan, ideas, suggestions. Do you need help with accountability? What is it that would be most supportive for you in this moment? I really believe this is an invitation for all of us to lean into how we show up with more self-awareness for ourselves, and also how we can create the space and the world where it's safe and brave and normal and comfortable for other people to express their needs too. And so I think it's kind of a two-prong approach. It's us leading the way in doing it ourselves and setting the tone first. And then it's also us actually inviting other people too, and asking them what they need and showing up to support them in that way. So that's all that I have. I mean, I thought this would maybe be like 7 minutes. We're now 29 minutes in. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. I'm very curious to know what you thought of this episode. If you enjoyed this style, let me know. If you did not enjoy this style and you're like, Lisa, go back to the script and the SEO and all the things, let me know that too. I love hearing from you. I had to record this when the inspiration struck and when it was fresh in my mind and I could just speak from the heart. And it was fun for me. I hope it was good, enjoyable, and I hope you learned something too. Thank you for being here. Maybe we'll do some more of these. Let me know. And most of all, my friend, just thank you for listening to me. But most of all, thank you for listening to yourself, for honoring what it is that you need, getting the support that you're craving that is going to be supportive for you in being your best, in living your best, and creating a better world for all of us. Much love, and thank you for being here. Okay, here's what happens when you don't have a script. You forget things. So here I am. There's one last thing I wanted to say. Before I record every episode, I always pull a Truth Bomb card from Danielle Laporte's Truth Bomb deck. And it is just amazing. I find it a powerful way to kind of just ground down, get a different message, see a different perspective. And I find they so often align perfectly with what we're going to talk about, whether it's with a guest or myself. There's just always a way that it weaves in. So here's what the card was that I pulled today. It was want what feels good to want. And I just want to say, if that isn't perfectly designed to sum up everything that we talked about on this episode, I don't know what is. So there you go, my friend. Want what feels good to want. Know yourself. Allow yourself to desire and want it, and go for it. I love you. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. If something spoke to you, send me a message by sharing this episode and tagging me on social media. If you know someone who would love to hear this episode, please share it with them too. Because I love surprises, make sure you subscribe to the Goalden Girls Podcast today. It's the only way to find out about bonus surprise episodes and make sure you don't miss a single beat on your golden journey. Thanks again for listening, and I will talk to you in the next episode of the Goalden Girls Podcast.